Okay, well, good morning to everybody and welcome to Shoftim, sponsored by Hadassah Israel Livona Chapter Modi'in. And we're glad you're with us. Last week, you recall that we talked about warfare. Oh, what a concept. And we talked about the warfare of Shoftim and all the various configurations of warfare that the tribes used that are still being used today. And now we're going to go back to the text of Shoftim, the end of chapter 8. So if you will turn to that chapter 8 in your text, I'm going to try and put it up on the screen so that you can see it. So let's see. Okay.
You talking about the last paragraph, maybe?
I'm talking about chapter 8. You see it on the screen?
Yeah.
Pasuk here, right here, 33.
Yeah.
Chapter 8.
33.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what we're going to do is just read the last few psukim of chapter 8, because as a review, as we know that Gidon had successfully won the war against the Midianites, and that he had come home safely with his men after this incredible battle, and he became a strong leader throughout the north and then throughout Israel. And the people wanted to have him as their leader. So and Gideon says to them, no. They asked Gideon to be their king, to rule over them, because he was such an amazing leader. And he got rid of the Baal, the idolatry at the time. And he was quite successful. So it's at this point that Gidon says to the people, let me be, leave me alone. I just want to go retire as a successful general. I do not want to get into politics. I do not want to get into becoming the ruler or creating a dynasty amongst the people of Israel. So let's have someone read 33 until the end.
I can do it.
Linda?
Yeah. Okay. It happened when Gideon died that the children of Israel once again went astray after the Baalim, and they set Baal Berith as a god for themselves. The children of Israel did not remember Hashem, their God, who rescued them from the hand of all their surrounding enemies. Also, they did not perform kindness with the household of Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, commensurate with all the goodness that he had done with Israel. So they really slid so quickly.
Yep, wow. They certainly do. So, wow. Surprise, surprise, Gideon dies, and Israel, God bless our country and our people, they strayed towards the idolatrous Baal, and they made what was called Baal Brit, like a covenant. A covenant with Baal, with the idolatrous god, false god, and the children of Israel did not recall Gidon after a while, and they didn't. They weren't kind to the house of Gidon. Now, Gidon's name, as you might recall, was changed to Yerubbaal. It means
That's what
Yerubbaal, when he crushed all the idols in his city. The people changed his name to Yerubbaal, means one who contends with God. With Baal, one who fights against Baal. So he was not only a national hero because of his fighting against Baal and getting rid of idolatry, but he also was a successful warrior against the Midianites in the north throughout the country. So Gidon has died, the people have strayed, we're back to where we started from. So let's continue to read in the text. Let's see if we can get the text, the next part of the text.
Chapter 9.
Yeah.
Verse 1. I'm going to put it up, try and put it up on the screen.
Okay.
Let me, okay. Hold on a sec. I'm going to, sorry. Okay.
I don't know.
So now we're going to go to chapter 9.
So Yerubbaal is king.
So yeah, Yerubbaal is, I don't know why I'm having a hard time getting this, hold on a sec.
Because she just announced.
Okay, so here we go. Does everyone have it in their text?
Yeah.
All right, because I can put it up on the screen for those of you who don't have. Hold on. Okay.
I Googled video.
I don't know because I'm.
Okay, here we go. So here's the text, chapter 9, and I'd like to start reading this. Now, before we get into this, I want to give you a little prequel. We just read that Gidon died, and up until that point, we didn't know too much about his family. We only know that he had a father named Joash, and that when he died, that he had a family. But here in this chapter, we learn this is the wrong chat. Okay, here. Chapter 9, sorry. Okay. We learned that Gidon left 70 sons in Eretz Israel and Canaan, and he had a son in Shechem with a concubine. We don't know her name, but she was a Canaanite, and she had this one son. Now, after we find out in chapter 8 that the people wanted to have Gidon become the king, and he refuses, we find out that his son, by the concubine, is very interested in becoming the ruler of the people. Now, he's not Jewish, he's not a Hebrew, he's not an Israelite, he's a Canaanite, but he is the son of Gidon, and he decides that he would like to be the ruler. Chapter 9 is basically the story of the son, Gidon's son, who's called Avimelech. The name Avimelech means my father is king. This was not the name that he is born with. We don't know his name. In the text, it tells us that he, meaning the son, gave himself this name. So he wanted people to know that he was the son of the man who would have been king had he said okay, but now he's going to be the king. He wants to be the king. And we're going to read the story of how he wants to be king and what he does. And we'll talk about it as we go through. It's kind of long. Okay. So let's see. Do we have a reader to have a volunteer?
I want you to have money.
Anybody want to
I can do it, Rhonda.
start with one?
Okay. And Avimelech, the son of Yerubbaal,
Now you know this is when it says Yerubbaal,
It's Gideon.
it's Gideon. So
Gideon,
that's
right.
Gideon's
Okay.
son. Okay.
Okay, when Avimelech, the son of Yerubbaal, went to Shechem to his mother's brothers, and he spoke to them and to all the family of the house of his mother's father, saying, "Speak now in the ears of all the men of Shechem. What is better for you, that their rule over you 70 men, all the sons of Yerubbaal, or that one man rule over you? Now remember that I am your bone and flesh." And his
Okay.
mother's
So I'm going to do a little commentary as we go through so you'll understand what's
okay.
going on. So here
Okay.
we have him identified who he is and that he goes to his family in Shechem and he talks to them in his mother's house. And he says to them, okay, my father didn't want to be king. They need a ruler. So I'm going to be ruler. Is it better for you meaning all of the people of this community in Shem to be ruled over my father's 70 sons? Or is it better that I should take the position of the ruler and that I should be the one who is your flesh and blood to rule over you? He's trying to convince his mother's family, the Canaanites, who are living, who are his family in Shem. So why does he go to the Canaanites? The reason that he goes there is because remember I told you in several lessons that the text often tells us that when it says the Bnei Israel dwelled among the Canaanites, it means that the Israelites are the predominant population, because remember, we did not get rid of all the Canaanites. And if it says the Canaanites dwelt among the Israelites, it means that in that section of the country, the Canaanites were the larger population. So here he's going to Shem, which the city of Shem, where his mother's family is, and he's trying to convince them. He's really saying, do you want an Israel, a Canaanite to rule you, or do you want a Israelite to rule you? And because he's not seeing himself as his father's son, he's seeing himself as his mother's son. So here he's trying to convince his mother's family, that he should be the ruler. Okay, so and he says, after all, I'm your flesh and blood. Go ahead.
Okay. And his mother's brothers spoke of him in the ears of all the men of Shechem all these words, and their hearts inclined to follow Avimelech, for they said, "He is our brother." And they gave him 70 pieces of silver of the house of Baal Berith and Abirith,
Breed.
Brit. And Avimelech hired with them idle and hasty men, and they followed him. And
Okay,
he
so, okay, so what happens is there's gonna be a little bribery here.
Mm.
So, there's gonna be a little, political, shadiness. So he's talking to his mother's brothers, and he's saying to them, to tell the people of Shem that, this is what I want to do. I want to be the ruler over everyone, and the time is right. And he says to them, he gets money from them. He gets 70 pieces of silver from these people, and it comes, where does it come? Doesn't come from the people, it comes from the idolatrous temple of Baal. Okay, Baal Brit, the covenant of Brit, of Baal. And so he takes the money, 70. Does that, I just told you another 70 a minute ago. Anybody connect the 70 shekels for 70 of something else? What
70 men.
70 sons of has 70 brothers.
Mhm.
He owns 70 sons. Okay. And he takes the money, and now he's got like a war chest, a political war chest, and he's going to and it says who does he take with him? He hires, it says he hires with them idle and hasty men. Well, they're a bunch of bums hanging around, not doing much, and they're probably hasty, meaning they're probably short-tempered, feisty guys who will jump at the opportunity to earn some money to go to war, go to battle with somebody.
Mm.
So that's the kind of people he is hired to follow him. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And he went to his father's house to Ophrah and killed his brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal, 70 men upon one stone. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, for he hid. And all the inhabitants of Shechem and Beit Milo assembled, and they went and made Avimelech king by the plain of stones that was in Shechem. And they told it to Jotham, and he went and stood on the peak of Jotham, and he went and stood on the peak of Mount Gerizim, and he raised his voice and called. He said to them,
wait, okay, now. Okay, so Yotam is the only son of Gidon who survives. He runs away. He's the youngest one. And this is not a story that we haven't heard before in our other studies. We've heard this kind of thing many times, where someone is out to destroy the entire family, and there's one child who escapes. We've heard this in Malachim, and we've heard this many other times. So what happens is Avimelech leaves Shem, and he goes to Ophrah, where Gidon and his sons were living, and he kill all these guys are with Avimelech, and they kill all the sons. Yotam runs away, and then Avimelech is anointed king. He anoints himself as king. Actually, he crowns himself, and he declares himself king, and now he is the king of the area. What that actually means, we're not exactly sure in terms of dynasty, of family, but he thinks he's king. Okay, so now Yotam, I'm sure that there's some time that elapses, and Yotam the youngest, who is the survivor, comes back to the area, and Har Grizim, this is where we talk, Har Grizim is, we heard in Yehoshua, he stands on the mountain and he calls out to the people. Now listen to what he says. It's very important to listen to what he says. Go ahead.
What
Listen-
person?
This is
Listen
the
to
son
seven.
of, this is the surviving lone son of Gidon, and this is what he says to the people.
Okay, listen to me, you men of Shechem, that God may listen to you. The trees went forth to anoint a king over them, and they said to the olive tree, reign over us. But the olive tree said to them, should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor God and men, and go to wave over the trees? And the tree said to the fig tree, go you and reign over us. But the fig tree said to them, should I leave my sweetness and my good fruitage and go to wave over the trees? And the tree said to the vine, go you and reign over us. And the vine said to them, shall I leave my wine, which causes God and men to rejoice, and go to wave over the trees? Then all the trees said to the thorn, come you and reign over us. And the thorn said to the trees, if in truth you anoint me king over you, then come and take refuge in my shade. But if not, let fire come out of the thorn and consume the cedars of Lebanon. And now, if you have dealt in truth and with sincerity, and that you have made Avimelech king, and you have dwelt well with Yerubbaal and his house, and you have done to him according to the deserts of his. For my father fought for you and cast his life aside and saved you from the hand of Midian.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Where are we?
Yeah.
Okay,
You have
so,
to-
okay, so let's continue with, and now,
We-
okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we're at 18 now, but I read that
Yeah.
7 already. Okay, and you have risen up against my father's house this day and have killed his sons, 70 men upon one stone, and have made Abimelech, the son of his maidservant, king over the inhabitants of Shechem, because he is your brother. Now, if you have dealt in truth and with sincerity with Yerubbaal and his house this day, then rejoice with Abimelech and let him also rejoice with you. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech and consume the inhabitants of Shechem and Beit Milo. And let fire come out from the inhabitants of Shechem and from Beit Milo and consume Abimelech. And Jotham ran away and fled and went to Beer, and he dwelt there because of Abimelech, his brother. And
Okay,
Abimelech,
Is
Okay, let's-
Beer for Beersheba?
I don't think, I don't know, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I just.
All right,
uh,
so let's, first of all, let's go back to where Yotam is now, talking to the people. He's on Har Grizim, and he's talking to the people, right here in Pasuk 7. So what's going on here? First of all, does that parable resonate with anybody? Has anyone heard something similar to that?
One of the prophets.
About the olive tree?
Mhm,
The trees went forth
mhm.
and they wanted to anoint a king, and they go to the olive tree, and the olive tree said, there's a reason the olive tree says, no, I don't want, I'm not going to be. And then they go to the fig tree. Then they go to the, well, here
grapes.
they go to the vine, the grapevine,
Vine.
and then they go to the bramble or the thorn bush. Does that,
Is this all symbolism? The tree and
yeah,
the vine,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Every year, for many years, we have read a Tu B'Shvat Haggadah.
Mhm.
Sound familiar?
Yes, yes.
However, in my Tu B'Shvat Haggadah, the story ends quite differently. It's in the Tu B'Shvat Haggadah, the trees want to anoint a king, a leader, and they all dismiss one another because one of the characteristics of that particular tree is not a good recognizable trait. Here we have, and it's very possible, we don't know, but it's very possible that this is where we get that story for the Tu B'Shvat that was rewritten in a very positive way, as opposed to this. So here, Yotam is telling the people of Shechem this parable. And he says, well, first of all, we're going to ask for a king. And all these trees that are being asked are like the representatives of the people. So what kind of people or what kind of trees are the population going to? Well, the first one that they go to is the olive tree, right? And the olive tree is the one that makes the oil for the will make the oil for the Beit Hamikdash. The oil is makes light. The olive tree, is it. How many times do we have references to the olive tree and the olive branch, and so that tree says, "Are you kidding? I'm not going to leave my cushy life here and go be king. I'm not going to do that." And so the next tree that they go to is the fig tree, and the fig tree is, if you recall, is really the tree that in Gan Eden that they eat from the fruit and they use the leaves of the fig tree leaves are these huge leaves. Adam and Chava realize they're naked. They cover themselves with these huge leaves. They become the clothing of Adam and Chava. And the fig tree, whose fruit is used completely, you eat the entire fig. It says I should leave my sweetness, my good life, my and my all the fruit, and all the goodness to rule over the trees. No way, not at all. And then the trees go to the vine, the fruit of the vine, the grapes that make wine to sanctify Hashem, and wine that make people happy and glad, and all the goodness that wine does, and all the symbolism that wine is. And they say, do you rule over us? And he says, and rejoice. I should leave the position of making men rejoice, and I should go and lead these trees out? Absolutely not. So what is he saying actually? He's saying that all the different people in the population, this is as a metaphor, they're not, all the good people are not going to go and become king. So who does become king? Well, they finally go to the bramble, the thorn bush, and the thorn bush is is the only one that will accept it, the lowest of the low, the thorn bush that hurts people, the thorn bush. There's nothing positive about it. You can't even get shade from the thorn bush. You can't sit under the thorn bush. You can't stick your hand into the thorn bush to pull out good fruit. There's nothing positive about a thorn bush, and there's nothing positive about a person who is evil. So the people who would go to the thorn bush to ask the thorn for the lowest of the low person to rule over them would be terribly harmful. So that's his parable, that you have chosen the lowest of the low. You haven't chosen anybody of any substance that provides any goodness. And you've gone to the worst of the worst. And so you people who have decided this, these are the consequences of what will happen. And he gives the consequences. He talks about his father. You know, you went to my father who was the best, the strongest, the one who liberated you from Midian, the Midianites, and now you've reduced yourself to the person who has killed the best one's children, and you've gone to the worst, and this is what you want to rule over you. Well, if this is what you want, says Yotam, if this is the kind of person that you choose, then the consequences will be dire, that you will end up with not only a horrible person, but you'll end up with the entire area ablaze.
Rhonda, can I ask a question?
Yes.
If everybody that they wanted to go to said no, so where else could they go?
What do they?
Like was the thorn bush the last and the only that was left over that they could go to?
Well, it's the parable of the lowest of the low finally accepting, because there's nothing else. However, who says there had to be a ruler? The people were very content before that
Uh-huh.
to not
Okay.
have a ruler. Before Gidon, no one was asked to be ruler. Devorah wasn't asked to be ruler. Barak wasn't asked. Othniel wasn't asked. Ehud wasn't asked. All the prior Shoftim were not asked to be kings. In fact, when Bnei Israel cross over the Jordan River to come into Eretz Yisrael, one of the things they were told by Moshe to do is to take over the land, and they have to eventually appoint a king, etc., etc. But you don't hear the people from Yehoshua until now clamoring for a king. No one's asking for a king except now. And this is the first time we hear in the Torah about Bnei Israel clamoring or asking for a king, for someone to be king. And Yotam, the only son of Gidon, who was asked to be the first king and refused, said, no, God is king. We don't need this guy to be king. So Yotam says there's going to be serious consequences with this Avimelech as your king. So we read that there's going to be fire, but if not, let fire come out from Avimelech and consume the inhabitants of Shem. So remember that pasuk, because now we're going to read what happens. Go ahead to 21.
Okay. And Yotam ran away and fled and went to Beer, and he dwelt there because of Avimelech his brother. And Avimelech ruled over Israel 3 years. And God sent an evil spirit between Avimelech and the inhabitants of Shechem, and the inhabitants of Shechem betrayed Avimelech, that there might come the injustice done to the 70 sons of Yerubbaal, and their blood, which he shed now, to be placed upon Avimelech their brother, who killed them, and upon the inhabitants of Shechem, who strengthened his hands to kill his brothers.
Okay,
And
now
the
what we're talking about here, that pasuk to me indicates there's going to be divine retribution.
Mhm.
The 70 brothers that were killed by Avimelech, the injustice done to the 70 sons is And it talks of Yeruvavel, their blood brothers. They're all, the Almighty is going to do something. It says God sent an evil spirit. Something happened, but in those 3 years, during that time that he ruled, Avimelech ruled, something came between the people and Avimelech, and there was going to be some kind of divine retribution brought upon the people of Shem by God. Okay, so let's see what happens. Go ahead.
And the, are we at 24 or 25?
25.
And the
Right.
inhabitants of Shem set for him liars in wait on the tops of the mountains, and they robbed all that passed by them on the way. And it was told to Avimelech. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, came with his brothers, and they entered Shem, and the inhabitants of Shem put their trust in
Yes.
put their trust in him. And they went out in the field and gathered the grapes of their vineyards and trod them and made dances. And they came into the house of their God and ate and drank and cursed Avimelech. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, said, who is Avimelech and who is Shem that we should serve him? Is he not the son of Yerubbabel and Zubal? Is he not his name? Serve the men of Hamor, the father of Shem, but why should we serve him?
Okay.
And
so,
with
okay, so let's stop for a minute.
Mhm.
Okay, so here we have, we're told that there's some bad blood going on in Shem. There's some divine retribution on its way, and we find out that people were hired to, it says, liars in wait, another like watch people. They were watchmen who were appointed to watch over the area, and it became criminal. The area became criminal, and it was told to Avimelech that the people were going against him, and they were. It was just becoming a horrible place, and then all of a sudden, in Pasuk 26. We get this guy Gaal.
Right, where did it come from?
Where did he come from? Who is he? So it says, and Gaal, the son of Eved,
Who's Ebed?
well,
Right,
we don't know. We don't know who this is, but
Not yet.
some kind of rabble rouser appears on the scene. We get his lineage, and we don't know exactly why all of a sudden he comes up
Right.
on the scene, but it says he comes with his brothers, and he enters Shem. Where's he coming from? We don't know anything about this guy. And the inhabitants of Shem put their trust in him. So here comes this guy. We don't know
You don't know from where.
from who, from what, from where,
Mhm, mhm.
and then we hear that now the people are going to trust him, not Avimelech. So there's a little fickleness going on here, because within moments prior to that, they were very pro Avimelech. And then it tells us that they went out into their field and they gather the wine, they make wine, and it sounds like a fest, they have some feast or festivities going on, and they eat, they drink, and they curse. They all
First
Avimelech.
Avimelech.
Okay, sounds like the Avimelech's going down, because now the tide has turned, and this Gaal is getting the people all happily drunk and to
Right.
follow him. Okay, so go ahead. And Gaal,
And Gaal, the son of Ebed, said, who is Abimelech and who is Shem that we should serve him? Is he not the son of Yerubbabel? And Zabul, is he not his officer? serve the men of Hamor, the father of Shem, but why should we serve him? And would these people were under my hand, that I would remove Avimelech. And he said to Avimelech, increase your army and come out.
Okay.
And Zubal, the ruler of the city, heard the words of Gaal, the son of Ebed, and his anger was kindled. And he sent messengers to Avimelech in secret, saying, behold, Gaal, the son of Ebed, and his brothers are coming to Shechem, and behold, they besiege the city on account of you. And now get up at night, you and the people that are with you, and lie in wait in the field.
Okay, so interestingly enough, these names have such significance. Zevel, anyone who knows what Zevel is?
Garbage.
Garbage.
Ah,
So
Oh, good.
Zevel says, Zevel is this guy who all of a sudden, is like a spy. He says, all right, we heard the words, we heard what Gal has to say. And what is Eved in Hebrew?
Slave.
Yeah.
Slave, slave. And Eved Ivri, Hebrew slave. So garbage says to Gal,
Hello?
the son of a slave. I mean, this is unbelievable. And I think that Gaal means like to throw up. So throw up, son of slave, is told by garbage to that there's gonna be a showdown. Okay, so if you know what these words mean, you understand that this is all kind of parable. This is all kind of forecasting what is to come, and that the story has
Avimelech,
a very interesting
my
significance
father,
in terms
is seed.
of the characters. This is all unsavory. This is all, it's not a heroics. It's not an amazing Gidon story. So now we hear that they're going to gather an army and something clearly is going to happen here. Okay, go ahead.
okay. At 31.
Yeah.
And he sent messengers to Abimelech in secret, saying, behold, Gaal, the son of Ebed, and his brothers are coming to Shechem, and behold, they besiege the city on account of you. And now get up at night, you and the people that are you, and lie in wait in the field. And it shall be in the morning, as soon as the sun is shining, you shall rise early and spread out upon the city, and behold, when he and the people that are with him come out against you, then you shall do to him whatever you can. And Avimelech and all the people that were with him got up at night and lay in wait against Shechem in 4 companies. And Gaal, the son of Ebed, went out and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city. And Avimelech, the people that were with him, got up from the ambush. And Gaal saw the people and said to Zebul, behold, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains. And Zebul said to him, you see the shadow of the mountains as if they were men. And Gaal continued to speak and said, behold, people are coming down from the navel of the earth, and one company is coming by way of the plain Meonanim.
Okay, so what's
Okay.
happening is that now there's going to be a confrontation, there's going to be a war, I don't know that we call it a war, but it's a skirmish against each other.
Oh,
If you want it, you could say that throw up, the son of servant says to garbage, he sees people coming down the mountain. And garbage says to him, oh, you just see the shadows of the clouds. It's not really people coming. So we're not sure whose side they're on, this guy is on. We're not sure exactly what the purpose of this guy is, except that there's going to be trouble. And they come down, the people do come down. There are people on the mountain. They come down to the bottom, and what happens is that one of the groups of people comes, and they're going to have
Skirmish.
this skirmish, this battle, whatever they're going to have. It's a battle of good and evil, and
Mhm.
Avimelech's group, and hopefully good is the other group, although we're not really sure. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and Zubal said to him, Zebul
Zabul.
said to him, Zabul, where then is your mouth that you used it to say, who is Avimelech, that we should serve him? Is not this the people that you have despised? Go out now and fight with them.
I don't see it as good and evil.
And Gaal went out before the men of Shechem and fought with Avimelech. And Avimelech pursued him, and he fled before him. And many casualties fell, even until the entrance of the gate.
So
And
we
Avimelech-
learned
yeah.
here that because we weren't sure what is this, whose side is Gal on? Whose side who are these people? We're not really,
Mhm.
it's a very
Mhm.
difficult parable, and then a difficult situation to understand. But now we see that Gal went out of Shem and fought with
Avimelech.
Avimelech.
Mhm.
Okay, so he's not a good guy. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, and Avimelech dwelt in Arumah, and Zabul drove out Gaal and his brothers from dwelling in Shechem. And it was on the morrow that the people went out to the field, and they told Avimelech. And he took the people and divided them into 3 companies and lay in wait in the field. And he saw, and behold, the people were coming out of the city, and he rose up against them and struck them.
Now
And
wait, what? Where does this? Read that first part again. He
He
took.
took the people and divided them into 3 companies. and
Okay,
lay-
where do we hear that? Why does he do that?
Just because
So that they can cover the whole area. I
Well,
mean,
whose son
not-
is he? Whose son is he?
Avimelech
Avimelech is whose
Avimelech.
son?
is Gideon.
Okay, what did Gideon do?
The same
He
thing.
The
suffered,
same
he
thing. He
separated
divided
people.
the 300 men into
Mhm.
3 groups of
Into-
100, and he
Mhm.
put
And he left the others all around.
That's right. So he listened to the
Oh.
stories about his father at battle and
Mhm.
war. And so he knows to do the same thing. Go ahead.
Okay. And
44.
And he saw,
44.
and behold, the people were coming out of the city, and he rose up against them and struck them. And
Okay.
Abimelech and the companies that were with him spread out and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city. And the 2 companies spread out upon all that were in the field and killed them. And Abimelech fought against the city all that day, and he captured the city and killed the people that were therein. And he broke down the city and sowed it with salt. That's interesting. Okay. And all the inhabitants of the Tower of Shechem heard, and they came to the forest of Beth Albreet. Bethel. And it was told to Abimelech that all the inhabitants of the Tower of Shechem had gathered.
Shingles.
And Abimelech went to Mount Zalmon, and he and all the people that were with him. And Abimelech took the axes in his hand and cut down a bough from the trees, lifted it, and laid it on his shoulder. And then he said to the people that were with him, "What you have seen me do, hurry and do like me." That's interesting. And all the people also cut down every man his bough and followed Abimelech and put them nearby the forest and set the forest on fire upon them, so that also all the men of the Tower of Shechem died, about 1,000 men and women.
Wow.
Okay. So what happened? So is the parable coming true?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So what did the Yotam said that the thorn, the lowest of the
Mhm.
low, was going
Mhm.
to set ablaze and burn, and be consumed by fire. So the lowest of the low is Avimelech. He cuts down these branches or whatever, and he now sets them ablaze so that he's against his own people now. He has nobody on his side, and he goes to the tower. Every city has a tower, a watchtower, and people were in the tower. They had run from him. They fled. They were in the tower, and he puts around all these branches that are on fire. He kills these people. Kills, how many did it say?
1,000 men and women.
Right. Okay, go ahead.
And Abimelech went to Thebez and encamped in Thebez and captured it. Now there was a strong tower within the city, and all the men and women and all the inhabitants of the city fled there and shut themselves in. And they went up to the roof of the tower. And Abimelech came to the tower and fought against it. And he went to close the door of the tower to burn it with fire. And a certain woman cast a piece of the upper millstone upon Abimelech's head and crushed his skull. And he called hastily to the man, his weapon bearer, and said to him, "Draw your sword and kill me, lest they say of me, a woman killed him, and his young boy pierced him, and he died." Now the men of Israel saw that Abimelech had died, and they departed, every man to his place.
Does that say another war?
That's the end. That's it, folks.
Okay.
To his, okay, you can, there's a couple
Yes.
more lines.
Couple
Go
more.
ahead.
Thus God requited the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did to his father in killing his 70 brothers. And all the wickedness of the men of Shem, God requited upon their heads. And there came upon them the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. So that's quite a story, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And that's where basically why I did not want to go into this story at the beginning of the war.
Yeah, because it was destruction.
It was
Destruction.
son against father's family. There was death, there was destruction, there was predictions of terrible things that would happen, and I could not do that. So, but here we are, and we actually see that this story, the parable, the story shows that in the end, God prevails, and in the end, evil is destroyed. That's basically what we learn here. But it doesn't give us I'm looking for the chizuk that evil is destroyed by good, and therefore we must always be vigilant against it. We must always watch that bad people don't take over. And this for me is relevant all the time. So this is the story of Avimelech, the man who would be king, who was king, became king, and ended his kingship very quickly. It was not the time nor the place, and God made sure that he was destroyed and punished for his terrible deeds. And he himself could not stand that he was on his deathbed from a woman, that he needed to be killed by his sword bearer. So, any questions? Any comments? Okay, let's see. Oh, it's time to end. I had you spellbound. Okay.
Would
All
make a great movie.
Yeah, yes, it would. It would make a great movie. So let's stop the recording, and Just 1 second. Yeah.